Hello and welcome to Platypus Scotsman. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. This is a tutorial on the altar, and it's the third tutorial, probably out of 5, I would probably say, for an overall piece. The main part is the altar. Everything else is kind of accenting the altar, so this is kind of the main piece to it all. But if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're returning, glad you could come back. And hope you enjoy this. And if you have any questions, comments, always leave them below. And if you like the video, share it, and or give it a thumbs up. But anyway, without any more fanfare, let's go. Let's get going into the platform portion of this build and start working on the wood. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score the sides of the wood like so. Just to remove the hard edge on it. And this is 3/16 by 3/16 basswood. It's harder than balsa. I'm going to start using a wire brush on it, and this puts wood grain into it. This is the shape I want the altar to be in. So I'm gonna cut pieces out using my jewelry saw or my hobby saw. I just eyeballed these cuts. They don't have to be perfect because they're really not going to be seen. They're more just for support. I'm using turbo tacky glue. And now I'll do the rest and let it dry and get back to you. This is balsa wood. It's 1/16 thick, and I went ahead and did the wire brush on it and gave it wood grains. And then I made a 1/4 inch tick marks on it, and I'm just going to cut some planks out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start gluing the planks on. I've cut some legs about a 1/2 inch in height, and I'm going to glue them to the bottom now. This is Sculpting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some horns for the altar. Kind of get it in the general shape. Try to get rid of any of the crease lines in it. And then just roll it out. This is a tool for sculpting. I'm just going to run along here to give it grooves. So when I paint it, it has some texture to it. I also want it to be curved, so I'm just going to put a slight curve into it. And there you go. And then I'm going to go bake it at 275 for 15 minutes. For having the horns come out of the oven, they're still kind of pliable before they totally set. And I just kind of cracked this one on purpose just to give it a little bit more battle damage, you might say. And then I'll probably go through and nick a few of them as well. Right now I'm going to cut the excess off of this. I'm gonna put sheet styrene on this one like I have these. And I'm using gel super glue just to attach it. I glue one side first, and then I just wait for that to dry, and then I wrap it around and cut it to size. So I'm just gonna hold this down right here and wait for that to dry. What I'm gonna do now is just kind of eyeball it a little bit and just slowly trim it off, not too much at a time. Okay, that's close. And now I'm just gonna glue it. And I'm gonna put a lot of glue at the end just so it kind of fills the gap. I have a lot of these left over from the drums. I'm gonna utilize them and do this. And so I'm just cutting some of them in half and using the gel glue. And I'm just gonna glue them around and put them all like that. From up in the mountains, I can collect branches, and I just cut this with my saw. And I'm gonna glue it on here for part of the altar. It has a lot of character. Now I'm gonna glue these on. Just gonna eyeball it. So what I've done is I've made a table. These are just some sticks I found in a hobby store and just cut them down to use them on here. And this is just a 1/16 balsa wood that I used on it with a wire brush and cut it to create wood grain on the top side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a candlestick holder. It's going to go by the altar. These are some jewelry parts that I found in the hobby store, like craft store. This is 1/16 styrene rod, and this is what I want to make right here. And so what I've done is I'm going to stab myself. Anyway, be careful with your knives. I whittled this down a little bit so it can fit in the hole better, and whittle this down so it'll fit in the opposite end. Now when you put this on, just try to really eyeball it to make sure it's level. Screwed a couple of them up before. Just glue it on there. So I've gone ahead and made some candles, and I'll reference the video where you can go find how to make these. Okay, this is just a piece of paper I want to put over top of the table. I'm just going to kind of destroy the edges a little bit. And once I've done that, this is PVA glue mixed with water. And I just want to drench this in it, soak it up. This is a piece of jewelry I found in the one of the craft stores. Just gonna glue this on. Looks like a pot. I have some little beads I'm gonna glue on the front of here, and also some punched out sheet styrene I did with a 1/16 inch hole punch. It's now all primed, so I'm gonna paint the wood burnt umber. I put some in a cup right here and just mix some water in it so I can just kind of stir it around and get it so it flows a little bit better. I'm gonna do a known oil shade over all the wood area now. I want to add a little color back in, not much. I'm just going to use some raw sienna to do that. Just going to dry brush. Try to go against the grain as much as possible. It doesn't have to be everywhere. It can be patchy if you want. Now that the raw sienna is done, I'm going to do 2 different grays. The first gray is going to be a little bit darker. It's going to be a hippo gray, and then I will switch to a lighter gray. One of the reasons I do 2 grays is just so this one I can pretty much cover everywhere. The lighter gray I'll probably not do as much or as heavy, but this one is more to give it the weathered, aged look. And the other one is just to bring out more of the highlights and some of the edges. And right now I'm dry brushing, and all dry brushing means is you just put paint on your brush and then you remove as much as possible or a lot of it with a rag or paper towel or whatever. And then you just lightly put it on. And it also depends how much pressure you put on your brush, determines how much you actually put on your piece that you're doing. I might actually switch to a smaller brush just because I can't get in some of the places I want to with this big one. You can just go with a lighter gray. This is called cabinet, but there's a lot of grays that you can use. And I'm not going to go very heavy on this one. And I kind of just want to use this as a highlight. I'm going to paint / dry brush all the skulls and the horns and that skull. I haven't done this method before, so I'm just going to see how it rolls. It's part of the reason I dry brush the gray on it first, just to kind of see how that would work. Well, I kind of get the idea, so I'm going to go ahead and finish doing all the skulls, and then we'll get to that point. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a sepia wash on all the skulls, and hopefully I don't run out because I didn't realize I was so low. Now that the sepia is dry, I'm going to go back with the ivory and just dry brush a little bit. I'm going to dry brush white ever so lightly. I don't want hardly any paint on my brush. I don't want to be very heavy-handed with it. I want to go really light. And I'm just going to hit the very tops of these skulls just to bring them out a little bit more, to bleach them out. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the candle holders black, and I'm also going to paint the bases of these horns or whatever they're called black, just so I can start using some other things as far as metal and things like that are concerned. So now that it's all painted black, I'm going to go back with bronze and just kind of dry brush. I want a lot of the black to show through, so I'm just going to dry brush some of the metal, or some of what I want to be metal. Not overly heavy, and plus these things are kind of flimsy, so I can't be too abrasive with it, but I don't want it to be solid bronze. I just want to have a hint of bronze. Now that everything's painted bronze, I'm going to put some Nor oil over it just to give it shadow and depth. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try not to screw up the horns, but I want to add some red to the top. I'm not going to really soak it like you would normally do, like a wash or shade or anything. Just going to kind of paint it and just darken as I go, because I don't want it to be oversaturated. I just want to have the tips like they put blood on them, sort of. I don't want it to be crazy. I'm going to dry brush some corn red on the end of these horns, just because I going to. I want them just to be a little bit darker. Whoops, that's too much dry brush. That's actually painting. Don't want to do that. I'm going to paint this little rug thing right here, Gene Stiller purple, just because it was suggested to me by Scooter. Alright, I'm going to add some Druchii Violet onto this now. I'm going to go back with Gene Stiller purple and just kind of dry brush a little bit, just bring it up. The beads are so small, it's hard for me to paint on camera, so I just painted the outside blue, inside red, and then this is just gold. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the pot terracotta. I'm going to cover the pot with sepia now, or sepia. I'm going to dry brush some dark goldenrod on the terracotta now. I'm going to dry brush / highlight with maple sugar tan. I only want to do it on the top part of the terracotta and leave the rest untouched. Now I'm going to make an attempt at kind of like dry blood. Not a ton, but some. First I'm going to do iron oxide. Now I'm going to do a little bit of corn red. I want the edges to still be brown, so I don't want to go all the way to the edge, and kind of want to go intermittent too. Don't want to do a lot. Well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, so that's a wrap on the tutorial for the altar. One thing is, I don't think I covered this brown part right here. I just went back with some raw sienna and dry brushed a little bit more. And also remember the candle tutorial that I linked, that I put the card at the very beginning. Go back and check that out. It's in another tutorial, an earlier one. But if you have any questions or comments on this one, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it and that you can use in your hobby. Oh, also one more thing too. On the end of these, I went back and darkened them up with the Agrax Earthshade just a little bit more on the tip. I kind of wanted them a little bit darker, so that's what I did with those, just to give them a little bit more darker hue. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see pictures of this and all our other tutorials, you can go to our Instagram account and check that out. It's Platypus Scotsman. We also have a blog that we're starting. We've been doing it for a little bit. It's also Platypus Scotsman at Blogger, Blogspot, anyway. And then we're on Twitter. We're all over the place. We have Facebook as well. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. We would very much appreciate it. And if you're so inclined, if you haven't subscribed to us already, subscribe to us so you can catch future videos and things that we do. Also, too, if you feel that this is giving you some value and you're getting things out of this channel and it's worth it to you and you can use it, think about joining us over on Patreon and supporting the channel so we can continue to do this. That's pretty much all I have. Thanks for the support for those who have subscribed and leave comments and encouragement and so on and so forth. Very much appreciated. And remember what my mother used to always say, that anyone can do art. Ciao.